Hey friends, I'm Tal and I just finished my first week on a GLP-1 medication. I'm currently 2 pounds down since last week. I started at 220 and now I'm at 218. Of course, like everyone, I just was hoping to lose a lot more, but that is just my brain being all unhappy with the comparison of everyone else, which is the worst thing to do. But honestly, I'm just happy that I've at least lost something and that there is some sort of positive happening from this whole journey that I've already started on. But you know what? 2 pounds is at least something, and I am proud that I at least did that. I didn't gain, I am seeing progress on the scale. So I want to mention which symptoms I'm kind of dealing with, because I know that's a whole topic around GLP-1 medications. For me, it's been my inability to sleep. I'm having to constantly wake up to pee all of the time. The obscene amount of water I've had to drink has just kind of made me best friends with my bathroom. I just feel like I am having to pee nonstop. But I'm hoping that goes down. I feel like when I first started going to the gym, the amount of water I started drinking then is kind of giving the same, like, it'll eventually just, like, mellow out. But right now it is hindering my life. When it comes to nausea, I've definitely had more nausea than normal. I'm someone who takes iron supplements, so I do have like a baseline of having some nausea occasionally, usually like shortly after I've taken the med, like as in like the iron supplements. With the GLP-1, it kind of happens around after I've eaten or I've drank a little bit too much or something along those lines. Sometimes it just happens. I definitely find that I get a bit more nauseous at the gym. Like, I just got back from the gym shortly before this, and I couldn't drink much water while I was at the gym because I was not feeling okay at all. Another thing I've noticed is that the sweet flavor thing is no longer hitting the same. Like, it is definitely, like, muted. I'm not craving as much sweet when I go for a snack, which honestly I don't feel like I need to snack much right now. I usually end up snacking because I'm realizing my body's like, hey, you need something. You probably didn't eat enough at lunch because you ate half of what you normally do because you were full. Which feeling full was already something that is like foreign to me. I didn't know I could feel full because I knew full as being uncomfortable. I would always eat until I was uncomfortable rather than feeling full. So now I'm eating till I feel full, and also now I am just like having snacks when my body's like, you actually need something. And so when I'm opening the pantry and I'm seeing my usual like chocolate snacks, I'm not going specifically for those anymore, which is fascinating because I am a chocolate fiend. I will eat a lot of chocolate, but apparently I can just have 3 chips and be fine. This has happened multiple times now where my partner will like pull out chips to have as a afternoon snack for him, and I'll be like, oh, I'll just grab 3 and be fine. Is this how normal people feel? Because what? Another like fascinating thing that happened was on Saturday, which is my and my partner's takeout day. We got Taco Bell because I was like, you know what? I can reduce the amount of items we get at Taco Bell. That's easy enough. So I got a Crunchwrap Supreme, and I had one of his chicken tenders because he got something from KFC as well, and we split a beer. That was the most miserable night that I've had of sleep. Like, I ended up having to take a Gravol to fall asleep because it was just not happening. It knocked me out, luckily, but I felt like utter garbage. I normally wouldn't feel like that. I don't normally drink a lot to begin with, so half a beer is normally what I drink. So having half a beer and a Crunchwrap just utterly destroy me was fascinating. So I figured I'd talk a little bit as well about kind of why I'm taking a GLP-1 medication, because I know when you talk about weight loss, everyone just tells you to track your calories, exercise a bit more. I have. Absolutely, I have. I think everyone, for the most part, who is on this type of medication has done that. For me, at the beginning of 2020, I weighed over 310 pounds, like somewhere around 310 pounds. I didn't have a scale for the first little bit, but I do know I was at least around there. I lost my first 100 pounds. So I started in January, lost 100 pounds by the end of September, and then I proceeded to lose another about 40 pounds, I think just over 40 pounds or somewhere around there. I got down to 168 pounds, and then I maintained it for about a year. I was getting into doing yoga every day. I had started walking as well, because when I was 310 pounds, my osteoarthritis was incredibly bad. I was basically bedbound due to pain. If I wanted to be not in pain while breathing even, I had to be on muscle relaxants and a lot of painkillers. It was hell. It was one of the things that kind of forced me to lose weight initially. Even though I've been trying my entire life to lose weight, getting to the point where I am bedbound due to pain was definitely the final straw, the snapping point, the moment that caused me to actually take action and do the things. So I lost the initial bit from tracking. I definitely tracked a little too low. I was definitely not eating as much as I should have been eating, but when you're desperate, you'll do the thing. So I started tracking, and then walking. But yeah. So in 2022, I started lifting weights at home, just with dumbbells, and then April of 2023, the beginning of April 2023, I hired a personal trainer at the gym and started lifting weights at the gym, starting with 3 times a week and then moving up pretty quickly to 4 to 5 times a week, because I learned that I actually really love lifting weights. It is honestly so much fun when you get in a good gym community, when you actually learn how to lift properly. I still, to this day, as I said, I got back to the gym earlier today, I still go regularly. Even though I was at the gym and lifting weights, I started noticing my weight was slowly creeping up. I used to be plant-based for the most part. I think I added a little bit of dairy and some egg occasionally, just because of some things are just easier to bake with that, and my partner was not willing to just fully convert everything over to fully plant-based yet. But because I was going to the gym and needing to have my protein, I decided to add in chicken, some fish, and some more dairy. So being at a point where I'm now working out more than ever, and my weight was just slowly creeping up, it was really not doing great for the mental health. And so when I started the gym, I was, I believe, 185 pounds. So I'd already gained a bit of weight, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to do the thing. And yeah, I was assuming that the little bit of weight gain I was seeing at the gym was a little bit of muscle mass, because that's what literally everyone was telling me. I was tracking my calorie intake. I was tracking my protein. I was showing my trainer. And she was even like, yeah, you're doing great. But then when I would go home and I would see the result on the scale, it wasn't matching up to what I was kind of aiming for. And then summer of 2024, I started getting really sick, and I was getting nosebleeds basically every day that would be lasting for a couple hours sometimes, and they'd be multiple times a day. So my nose was just constantly bleeding. I was also getting to the point where if I walked for more than a few minutes, I would feel faint, which was hard because at that point, almost every night, I was on the treadmill for 30 to 40 minutes. I really loved going on the treadmill because that was my movie watching time, or I would binge YouTube videos and things like that. I just had a set routine, and I loved that. And so having my body suddenly being you can't do that anymore, was not good. And my weight just kept going up. I wasn't changing how I was eating, but my weight was just going up. I'd say like I might have had a few more meals out a month than I used to, but none of them would have been anything that should have gained the amount of weight that I have now been gaining back. As I said at the beginning of the video, I was hitting 220 pounds. And being someone who had been over 200 pounds since the age of 10, and this in the past few years was the first time I was under 200 pounds, seeing that go back over 200 pounds was absolutely devastating. Like, I know you shouldn't put that much of your worth and your personal goals and things like that on your weight, but like when it's been like that integral to your life for so long, where you've been bullied and just made to feel like absolute shit for so long because of it, it sucks. It definitely has not helped me mentally at all. I also didn't have a family doctor for the past few years, so I finally got one after dealing with this whole issue that I've been dealing with, which at the beginning of September, they were like, oh, it's your iron, so I started taking iron pills. I had to double it, even though they were like, oh, you should only be on it for like a certain amount of months. I've passed that certain amount of months. It was actually getting worse. Doubled it. Yeah, it would resolve the symptoms a bit, but it was giving me other symptoms. I was feeling sick all the time. And then I went and finally got a doctor that I had to travel a bit for, but it means I actually finally have a family doctor, which is very hard to find in Toronto. I started talking to this doctor about what was going on. They basically told me that my labs are all fine, so clearly it's probably just my weight. Yep. My blood pressure levels are a bit elevated, and yeah, otherwise all of these other symptoms that I'm dealing with right now are just my weight. And so feeling utterly discouraged, I asked to be on a GLP-1 medication, though I guess I more asked to see the weight management person, and he agreed with me that maybe a GLP-1 medication would be a good route to at least try for now. He was actually probably the best doctor I've seen in a long time. My family doctor I'm kind of like hesitant with. I don't really like being told that I seem like I'm gonna have a heart attack soon, and that maybe I should start working out and maybe start eating a heart healthy diet, even though I showed her my diet. And quite regularly mentioned that I like working out and that I currently work out. Like, oh, maybe get your steps up and start adding some exercise. I'm like, cool. How much more than 10,000 steps a day should I be aiming for? And how many more times a week do I have to add exercise in for it to work? Because I only have so much time. So yeah, I am just hoping and praying that I start seeing some results, even though, yes, I'm only 1 week in and I'm putting a lot of pressure on it. This is just where I'm at and kind of my starting place. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble, if you're still listening. If you're also on a GLP-1 journey, I would love to hear your story behind it, which one you're taking, have you seen any results, or if you have, how long it took before you started having results. And thank you kindly for listening, and see you next time.